So one of the common questions I get is, Nhyira, I study, keep forgetting. How do I study to remember as I prepare for the examination? Now, I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of tips that I believe you can implement right now today to help you to increase your game at the end of the day and help you to recollect the things that you study, and most importantly, put you in the position where you can go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that when it comes to memory issue like, oh, I learn and I forget, it all depends on the way the material came in. Because if you don't structure the material that is coming into your brain, then there will not be an order. And if there is no order, it means definitely there will not be any opportunity for you to be able to recollect that information as and when you want. And so before we get into the big picture, there are a couple of things that we need to ask ourselves generally. Number one, how do you study? Number two, where and when do you study? Number three, when you are studying, what is going on in your mind? Number four, how often do you study? These are crucial questions you need to answer because these are memory and brain triggers that will help you to either become successful or continue to experience stress and misery. So, what are some of the things you need to do? A couple of things. Number one is to understand your mental psychology, okay? Your mind is to understand the state of your mind. Because as my mentor, my brain mentor, Jim Quick, would say, information plus emotion equals long-term memory. What does that mean? It means that when you have the right emotion mixed with whatever information it is, that information is going to stay and give you long-term memory. What does that mean? It means that your mental state, whilst you are behind the book or whilst you want to study, is as important as what you are studying. And so you don't study when you are stressed out. You don't study when you are tired from work. You don't study when you have just finished eating banku and okra stew or fufu and light soup. You don't just pick a book to study when you are going through a breakup or a trauma or something like that. Mentally, you are not stable, and when you pick the book to study, yes, you may feel like you are studying, but at the end of the day, nothing is getting into your head, and you later on try to remember things, but you cannot remember anything. So the first thing we need to ask ourselves is about having the right mental state. Do you have the right mental state when you pick a book? So we go through a lot of stress. And so one of the things you need to understand is to manage stress. But a lot of things you must understand is that there are types of stress that, people go through. Okay. Yeah, we have the real stress. I mean, the fact that you need to wake up 4 a.m., prepare for work, leave home, be stuck in traffic about an hour, get to the office, work, close from work around 6. You got to get home around 8:30 and all of those things. Those are real stress. Yes, they are part of human behavior. You got to learn to manage those stress because whether I like it or not, these are necessary for you to survive. But there is another type of stress that is called imaginary stress. An imaginary stress is where nothing has happened, but you are overthinking things. Hey, what if I lose my job? Hey, look at the way the economy is doing. What if I lose my job? Hey, look at how my boyfriend is behaving. What if he dumps me? Oh, look at the way my girlfriend is doing. What if he says he doesn't love me again? Oh, look at what is happening. What if? What if? What if? And so there are many people who are living their life on the imaginary stress, who are living their life and they are always worried about things that will never happen. There is no indication that something like that is going to happen, but they are imagining things. And that is a type of stress that people go through. Now, if you're somebody who is in that arena where you are imagining things that are not there, you are imagining them because of, some things that you have seen or something that you have heard, you are actually killing yourself, and that is going to affect your mental state. It means that every day you're going to be living in fear. Because you are afraid you're going to lose your job. You are afraid you're going to fall sick. You are afraid you're going to lose your spouse. You are afraid you're going to lose your parents. You are afraid you're going to lose your job. You are afraid you're going to lose everything that is around you. That is imaginary stress. It's not real, but you are just bringing it on yourself. And sometimes many people are in prison by such stress. And the real stress is not even doing anything to them, but this imaginative stress or imaginary stress is what is destroying them. And that is the second type of stress that you need to learn to manage, because yeah, once in a while we all will feel that hey, something bad is about to happen, or based on A, B, and C, something is likely to happen. But that is not something you need to harbor for a long time, because it is going to destroy you and make you not to have the right mental state to be able to become successful as an individual. Then the third type of stress is going to be what is referred to as the exaggerated stress. Now, this is where people overstate, overhype what is really happening. There are people who think their life is more important than anything. There are people who think there is a lot of pressure on them than other people, and that is exaggerated stress. If you want to become successful, you cannot exaggerate your stress. Yeah, we get it. You got to wake up early in the morning and go to work. You close from work and come back home. Yeah, we get it, but you don't have a lot of responsibility on you. Okay, there are some people who are not married, they don't have children, they don't have a lot of other personal responsibilities aside work that they have to go to and come back, but they always want to appear as though the world is on them, when in reality they are actually the people who are putting impediments in their own path to prevent them to become successful. So if you want to become successful and you want to pass the examination, have a clean memory, make sure that you recollect everything that you study. We need to start from the mind. And the way we make sure you have the right mental state is to have the right state of mind at the time that you want to study, which means you must learn to manage your stress. The real stress, learn to manage it. Don't imagine things that are not there, and don't try to exaggerate something that is not there. Maybe it's just something small. Don't blow it out of proportion, because all of that can either make you or break you at the end of the day. And that is the first thing you must understand: your mindset, your mental state. That is where we have to start. And so every time you pick a book to study, you need to ask yourself, am I feeling well? Am I of the right mental state? Is this how I'm supposed to feel now? Now, it means then that you need to take absolute control over your emotions. It's very important, because you cannot allow any storms, any distractions to come in and blow your emotions. Because sometimes you are just there minding your own business, then somebody will send you a message, or somebody will tell you something that if you're not careful, you just start boiling, and you're like, yo, I got to show this person, I have to show this person that, hey, you cannot cross my line. There are times, let people, let them win it. It's okay. Allow people to misbehave and focus on yourself. So the first thing we need to talk about is your mental state. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And this is closely linked with the mindset you have about the exam you are writing, as well as the subject that you are studying. There are many of you, you feel that, oh, management accounting is difficult. Financial reporting is difficult. Strategic case study is difficult. Oh, that is difficult. Now, if you are starting something and you are already telling yourself, prophesying to yourself, speaking it out loud to yourself that, oh, this thing is difficult, this thing is challenging, then you are not going to be able to do it. Because it means no matter what people tell you, no matter how easy it is presented, you are still going to tell yourself that it is difficult. Over a decade I've been in the game, there are people I talk to, and I'm telling them, I say, hey, listen, this subject is not difficult. Look at it from this perspective. La, 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 la. This is what you need to understand. This is the rule. You see it. This is how you go about it. Then some people are able to change. Other people, they are deeply rooted. And unless you change the perspective you have, the view you have. And the reason they have such entrenched mindset, entrenched view of some of the subjects or some of the things in life is because of maybe they've heard some of the things that they've heard. Oh, somebody has written a certain paper 5 times, a certain paper 6 times, a certain paper 8 times. Hey, then they've already started freaking out before we start the game. And so that is where you have to start. You need to think positive. You need to think positive. You need to have the right mindset. As the Bible says, God didn't give us the spirit of fear or doubts, but He gives us the spirit of power, love, and sound mind. This is what God gave you. The spirit of love, the spirit of power, the spirit of sound mind. It's given by God. So you don't have to cloud your life, cloud your emotions, cloud your mind with things that would take away that soundness. So you need to take control over your emotions, over your thoughts, over your mind. Because as the scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you think management account is difficult, yes, it is going to be difficult. If you think the ICAG examination is difficult, no matter what you do, you're going to fail. Yeah, you just prophesied to yourself. And guess what? That prophecy will come to pass because life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat the fruit thereof. And so if you continuously say that the exam is difficult, the exam is challenging, then you are sowing the seed, and guess what? You're going to eat the fruit thereof. So we have to start from getting your mind right. So have the right emotional state, have the right mindset about the paper. Be positive. That's the first level. The second level is to have a steady plan. Remember, I didn't say timetable. Timetable is where you say, oh, Monday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., I have financial reporting. Tuesday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., I have public sector. Oh, Thursday from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., I have management accounting. That is timetable. What I'm saying is that you need to have a steady plan. A steady plan is that which helps you to break down the syllabus into pieces so that every session you know exactly what you're supposed to do. Now, you can check out a video on our YouTube channel. We're going to be leaving the video as well in the description of this video and the comment section, and you can watch on how you prepare a study plan. So you break down the syllabus in respect of the subject you are writing into the key topical and thematic areas, and at every session you pick the book, you know exactly what you're supposed to do. That is a study plan. Because sometimes you are unprepared. You want to study, right? But you pick the book and you don't know where to study. Because, yeah, you have public sector. Okay, so what in public sector should you study? Then now you are thinking, okay, should you study some of the IPSAs? Should you do evaluation of financial statement? Or should you do preparation of financial statement? Should you do conceptual framework and regulatory framework? Should you do PIFA and budgeting? You really don't know. But you need to have a study plan. That is the second thing. Now, once you have a study plan, number 3 is to get a dedicated study place. Listen, where you study, the environment within which you study is important in increasing your memory level. You cannot get up and say, yeah, I am learning, then you sit on your bed and you are learning. By the time you realize, you are dozing off. You cannot get up and say, I am learning, and there is TV there, noise in the background, people jumping around in the background, and say you are learning. You cannot pick a book and sit on the floor. Like the way we sit on the floor in the village when we used to eat fufu in the village. You sit on the floor, open your leg, and then you open your leg and sit on the floor, and you say you are learning. No. You need to have a dedicated spot to study in your house. It's important so that when you get to that spot, mentally, your brain is going to shift into study zone. And these are all mental triggers that will help you to understand, because once you get to that place, once you get to that zone, it means that your brain is going to say, hey, now we got to study, so let's study. So have a dedicated study place, have a dedicated study desk, and make sure you are sitting up straight when you are studying, because posture is key. There are some of you, you say you'll be studying, by the time you study for 1 hour and you get up, your back is hurting, your neck is hurting. Why? Because you are sitting on the wrong chair, you are sitting with the wrong table, you are having the wrong posture, and so at the end of the day, that stress, that pain is now going to take away from what you are studying or from what you studied. So now, it is not what you study that you'll be bothered about, that you'll be processing. You'll rather be processing the pain that you are experiencing, the neck pain, the back pain, the wrist pain. Like, that's what you'll be processing in your brain, ignoring what you really studied. So you want to have a dedicated place and a serene environment to study. Work it out and create that environment to study, because that is very important. Now, once you have that environment to study, now we go to the next step, and that is to have the discipline to follow that study plan. Because you see, things are going to happen. Maybe you have your plan that, okay, you're going to be studying maybe 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. on some days of the week. The alarm clock hits and you're like, oh, I don't feel like learning. No, you have to discipline yourself. So discipline is going to be central of all these, because you see, the discipline is linked to the next strategy that I'm going to give you, which is your learning style. You see, you have to know your learning style. How do you study? There are people who study, and when they read something, they have to write it out over and over again before it sticks. There are people who study, and they have to study the same thing like 3 or 4 times within the shortest possible time before it sticks. There are certain people, when they want to study something, they watch a video. And once they watch the thing being demonstrated, it sticks. And that is all. There are certain people, if they want to study, they will read, and they will be reading out loud what they are reading, and they have to be walking around and be reading it out loud. And so they will study by themselves, and that is how they learn, and that's how it sticks. There are people who study in groups. That is, when they sit down to study by themselves, it is not going to stick. But then if it is a group discussion, then this person is saying, this person is saying, this person is saying, there is a joke somewhere, there is an interesting story attached to the thing they are learning. That emotion of laughter, community, connection, bonding brings the positive emotions needed mixed with the information, then they can have the long-term memory that they are looking for. So you have to look at what your study style is. What works for you. Some people are by themselves. That is how effective they are. Other people thrive in groups, in community, in group discussions. That is what works for them. So you need to find out, what is my learning strategy? The reason why that is important is that once you're able to dial into what your learning strategy is, it is going to motivate you to study more. Because when you are learning and you don't struggle to remember what you study, you enjoy studying. And that gives you the boost to be more disciplined in studying. But if you study and you can't remember, you study and you can't remember, it discourages you, and then it progresses into indiscipline. And when it is time to study, you wouldn't want to even study again. So what is your learning style? Maybe you don't know. Okay, then try all the styles that I've mentioned. Give yourself some time. Read and write. Find out, how did that go? Read, say it out loud. Find it, how did that go? Have a group discussion with some people. Find out, how did that go? Then you will realize that, oh, it is helping. But the thing you must understand is about your senses. Because if you can engage numerous or a number of senses in your studies, it is going to help you a lot. Okay, so sense of sight, seeing it being done by somebody, it sticks because the image is going to be there. Okay, sense of hearing, you're going to be hearing it. So some of you, maybe you are reading something, maybe you are reading public sector or case study. What you read, you grab your phone, record the audio. So you read it out aloud in your own voice. you record the audio. So as you are on your way, going to the gym, going to work, cooking in the kitchen, you have a headset on, or there is a speaker there playing in the background, and that is your voice. So the more you are hearing it, it sticks more. Okay, some of you are going to thrive by just looking at it well in that particular case repeatedly within a shorter interval. So you look at something in the morning, you got to look at it in the afternoon when you're at lunch, then you look at it in the evening as well before you go to bed. Maybe that is the strategy that will help you to make the thing stick at the end of the day. So you have to look at that as well. So what is your learning strategy? So your emotions, very important. Have the right mindset, very important. Get a study plan. We cannot overemphasize the importance of that. Make sure you have a dedicated learning station or place in your house with a positive environment. Make sure you have the discipline. Then most importantly, know your learning strategy. What is your learning style? You have to know this. You have to know this because that gives you the motivation to continue to study, and that will increase your discipline level at the end of the day. Then, once you know your study style, keep going. Then this is where at every session, you're going to apply the last technique or last but one technique, and that is the pomodoro technique. Listen, you don't need to sit down 3 hours to study. You need to break down your study into sessions of 25-minute cycle or 30-minute cycle. That is called the pomodoro technique. So instead of saying, hey, Charlie, today there are 3 hours, so me bedi baba, I'm coming to sit down 3 hours and learn. Yeah, it's good, but take it easy, my guy. Take it easy. Let's break it down. So you're going to do 25-minute cycles. What does that mean? It means that 25 minutes, you're going to spend learning something in a session. Then after 25 minutes, you take 5-minute break. It is because of your focus. The human brain can focus not that long after 30 minutes. It depends on the environment. It depends on your stress level. It depends on your attention level. So you need to practice the Pomodoro technique. So 25-minute session. So you are focused. It means that in the study session, you have to remove all distractions. As I said earlier, you cannot be studying and then there is a music disturbing you in the background. You cannot study and there are people running in the background disturbing you. Music has its place in studies. Yes, there are certain music that will increase the effectiveness of your memory and your focus level, but not all music. Okay, I'll cover that probably in another video to show you the types of music and sounds, if I can put it that way, that can trigger your brain to learn effectively. Then your sense of smell. Where you are studying, the smell in that environment influences your brain. Very important. Your sense of smell, because that triggers your brain to be curious, to be relaxed, to be focused or not. So the smell in your environment is very critical. All that is going to be feeding into your Pomodoro technique to increase your focus level so that in that 25 minutes you are learning something. If it is a question you are solving under an accounting standard, or something that you are learning, a 3-page something you are learning on public sector or on organizational structure in strategic case study, or on audit procedures in advanced audit and assurance, or on standard tax planning measures in advanced taxation, whatever it is, that session you are reading that thing. Then you break. The 5-minute break. That 5-minute break is for you to sort of feed that other part of yourself that may cause you not to focus in the 25 minutes. So maybe that 5 minutes, yeah, you can quickly check your WhatsApp messages if you can reply something, but it is 5-minute break, so you got to focus. But technically, that 5 minutes is not for you to really distract your thoughts that much, but it is for you to just walk around, refresh yourself, get some juice, get some water, walk around a little bit for some fresh air if possible, and then you come back to come and sit. Now, before you start the next 25-minute session, you need to find out and review what you did in the previous 25 minutes from the break. Try to write it out. That is the Pomodoro technique. If you can do this over a long period of time, I can guarantee you, you can put yourself in a position to learn, retain a lot of the things that you learn, and most importantly, remember them as fast as possible so you can pass the examination. Now, if you look at everything that I've discussed, you realize that it's a hard work. Yes, there is no easy path for you to say, I will learn, retain, and remember. It's hard work. But if you pay attention closely to everything I've discussed, it is on you. Everything is at your disposal. You are the person who decides what and how it should be done. But if you can follow these recommendations, I can guarantee you, by the grace of God, you will be able to, from now on, study, understand what you are studying, be able to recollect as much as possible, and most importantly, when it is required for requesting in an exam, you'll be able to do that. And it will stick also, because we are looking for long-term memory. We are not looking for Baba, where you finish writing the exam and boing, it's gone. No, we are looking for long-term memory. So the strategy that I've gone through with you is not Baba's strategy. That is for long-term memory. And that should be your goal. That when you are learning, you are picking notes. When you are learning, imagine you are going to teach somebody when you are studying. Just lie to your brain that, hey, I'm going to teach my children these things. Oh, I will teach my boyfriend or my girlfriend this thing. Or I'm going to be teaching my spouse what I'm learning. Because you see, when you tell your brain you're going to teach what you are learning, you wouldn't want to make mistakes. So there is this extra attention you will pay to details, to concept, to understanding the things, so that in case you have to teach somebody, you wouldn't disgrace yourself. All right. So that is why they say that if you teach something, you learn it twice, because the focus, the attention to details, it will be different. And so when you are learning, you want to be picking notes. When you are learning, you want to be asking questions. How would the examiner ask this in the exam? Or how does this relate to something that I've studied previously? That is how you learn. Then pretend as though you're going to teach somebody, even if you don't like teaching. Even if you've cursed yourself that you will never teach in your entire life, it's okay. Just tell your brain, change your orientation and say, I'm going to teach my children this thing. I'm going to teach my spouse this thing. I'm going to teach my mom this thing. I'm going to teach my girlfriend this thing. Once you change that orientation, you are going to attach a certain level of care, a certain level of extra dedication and attention to what you are learning, and that increases you and make you much sharper and more intelligent, so you can put yourself in the position, go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and pass the examination. So let me hear from you in the comment section. What has been your learning strategy? What has been your struggle? Share. Let's continue with the discussion in the chat. If there are any other topics you want me to share my thought on, don't hesitate. Put it in the comment section for me. I'll be looking at them and possibly answer that in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.